Hi, this is Earl Oliver from Sully's Vintage Wrestling.
This is Raj Giri with WrestlingInc.com.
This is Sean Reed, boxing writer and undercover low-key wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling.
Woo!
Ooh, it's cold. Welcome back to Duke Loves Wrestling. I am freezing.
No one cares.
Can you turn up the heat in this place?
No. You know what? I'm turning the heat off.
What?
I grant the heat, and I shall taketh away. And I'm taketh away 2 degrees for your attitude.
This knucklehead thinks
I'm setting the thermostat in the secret location to 58.
That's not nice.
It's done.
That's not nice.
Bundle up, baby.
The Boston Bad Boy is wearing a Hawaiian shirt. He's wearing shorts.
Yep.
And he has on a captain's hat. What the hell is going on?
Listen,
right now?
It's always a vacation in my mind.
Oh, really?
And I feel like if I'm going to be in this ridiculous situation, recording this ridiculous show with you, I'm going to be a little ridiculous.
You look like
I'm ready for vacation.
Oh, please.
I'm going to, I think I'm
You
going to go
take more
someplace.
time off than anybody I know.
Listen, when you get to the level that I'm at, you've earned it.
Yeah.
Earned it.
Yeah.
EARNED. Earned it.
Yeah. ED, all right. Folks, this week's edition, I'm going to be going over the fallout from the Royal Rumble. We also have an actual general manager, a pro wrestling general manager, a guy by the name of Phil Stamper, who goes by the president of wrestling as well, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, what was there, like an electoral college? How does that work?
I don't know. I don't know how you get a job like that, but we're going to ask him.
I mean, if he's the president of wrestling, I mean, you have the other moron, the president of the United States, so I guess it couldn't, in reality, the real president doesn't have much. There's not much to it either.
Good point. He's part of wrestling. So
yeah, right. So
I want to know why this guy is supporting the shutdown. Because if the president can't be
supporting the shutdown.
Well, I'm going to find out. I'm going to get to the bottom of that. Speaking of which, folks, the government shutdown is over. Thank God. For now. For now.
Temporary reprieve.
Because remember, last week we were on day 34.
Yeah, and so the 15th of February is.
When it may happen again.
When it will happen again.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think he knows it's not going anywhere. They're not going to give him anything. It's going to take a lot longer than 15 days to figure out the, situation with immigration.
Sure.
It's not an overnight fix.
Sure. He wants his wall.
And he wants his wall badly.
Because if he can say, I did something.
Yeah.
Forget about the fact that it's not effective. It doesn't address the issue of immigration or anything.
Forget about the fact that last week ended with my favorite phrase over the past 2 years, pre-dawn raid.
Good point.
A pre-dawn raid.
Good point.
2 now. 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Paul Manafort, they kicked his door in the middle in the early morning. And now Roger Stone.
Yes, and Roger Stone doing his best Richard Nixon impersonation with the peace sign.
See, the thing is, Richard Nixon was smart enough not to end up in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
The guy, he at least had that kind of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Roger Stone really believes he can beat, quote-unquote, the system.
He's a lunatic.
He's out of his mind.
They released evidence today.
Did they?
Talking about part of the case that they have against him.
Well, apparently it goes back a long time.
Well, he's been threatening people not to speak up.
Of course he has.
That's part of the evidence they have against him.
Did you watch the Netflix documentary on him?
No.
I recommend checking it out. It's called Get Me Roger Stone. And I don't know who it's produced by. He's in it a lot. I mean, he's involved in it. It's not just about him. He does an interview with it. And he's totally open about what he does. Now, dirty tricks and this and that, okay. You want to be that guy?
Sure.
I guess.
Sure.
But when you do illegal shit, you go to jail for it. It's as simple as that.
If Roger Stone walks up to you and threatens you, what do you do?
Oh, I'd punch him right in the face.
I can't imagine this guy's going to threaten me about anything. I'm going to release this about you. I'm going to release that. Okay, release it, and then I punch him in the face.
Right. Go ahead. That's the power. And what does he really have?
Well, whatever he has, I'm still going to punch him in the face.
Well, I think what you're talking about with the news, and again, I'm getting it's been a very busy week for me.
Sure.
I'm a very important person.
Sure you are.
That the WikiLeaks release was intended to cover the grab him by the you-know-what tape.
Yep.
And to me, is this Roger Stone being just a fanboy? I could see. Here's the thing. I could see Stone, who always wanted to be somebody and wasn't, doing it of his own accord.
Sure.
Without the direction of the campaign. Either way, though.
I mean, he was connected close enough.
They were friends. They were friends outside of the president.
Conspiracy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did Trump say do it? I could see there being, maybe he didn't directly say do it, but I could see Stone going, hey, if I do this, then he's going to love me even more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, are you part of the whole conspiracy? I think you are.
Of course.
And I think Roger Stone is a small fish in this whole thing.
Well, I mean, he's close, though. He's close to the president. He has the president's ear.
Yes.
The alleged president, I should say.
The alleged president.
Yep.
Well, if we're arresting people of the president's ear, Tucker Carlson can't be far behind.
Oh, sure. Let's go get him.
Just for his bad bow ties.
All of them.
And Coulter, I love it. They're eating each other alive.
Yeah.
Eating each other alive.
It's the best thing going. This is like better than wrestling, folks. This whole saga. This is the soap opera of the millennium.
Did you see the James Bond movie where Javier Bardem is the bad guy, and oh boy, I'm not gonna remember the name, and I'm a giant James Bond fan. But he gives this speech to Bond, the typical villain speech,
yeah,
and he talks about my grandmother. We wanted to get rid of the rats on the island. We trapped all the rats in the barrel. And instead of killing them, we left them there. And what happens eventually?
They start eating
each other. And then when you get down to the last rat, what do? You don't kill him. You release him onto the island because now he eats rats.
Oh,
right. So this is what's happening here with these people. This is what's happening with the Republican Party. There'll be one rat left when the party totally dissolves, implodes on itself as it's doing. And that rat will bring them back to reality, or just completely disappear.
I can see it happening. It's a Royal Rumble of the Republican Party.
Well, the thing is, this rat that exists in the alleged presidency may not be where he was if your alleged friend Vince McMahon didn't, make him some big deal and put him in the quote-unquote Hall of Fame, which is a fake thing anyway.
We have to stop blaming my good friend Vincent Kennedy McMahon for the ills of the United States of America. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not.
You're going to have to.
All right?
This is true.
We don't. I stick up for my friends, and I'm telling you right now. And folks, just so you know, this episode, I'm going to be calling out a lot of your favorites out there who, quite frankly, have been very disrespectful to the World Wrestling Entertainment and to my good friend Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I'm going to be calling some people out because I'm sick and tired of putting up with it. All right? I really am.
Well, he deserves it. I mean, he does it to himself.
You know what? Let's move on to some of the top news here.
I'm not interested in top news.
Listen, the Royal Rumble happened.
Okay.
First of all, the NXT show was great. NXT always delivers. I can't put them over enough. My favorite match was definitely the Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair. You gotta look out for this Bianca Belair. I mean, she's a former track athlete.
Mm-hmm.
She did some stuff with what do you call the weightlifting stuff that's really crazy.
The weightlifting stuff that's really crazy. What are you talking about? Like
not,
heavy lift, like the deadlift.
Yeah, they call it something else. It's some kind of CrossFit. She's
okay.
really big
that's
on
not
CrossFit.
Weightlifting. So,
she's in unbelievable shape, and she can flip. She can do a lot of things, but she's not flippy move mania like some of you punks out there. She actually will stand there and wrestle, which is awesome. But really, really impressed with her. The main show, the Royal Rumble, was interesting. Asuka made Becky Lynch tap out, which nobody saw that coming except for me because I said Asuka.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right about everything. I forgot.
That's right.
Except you're not.
Women's Royal Rumble, somehow Becky Lynch managed to get into it and win. So she knocked out somebody and stole their place. It was actually Lana who had a twisted ankle. She took her place and won the Rumble, which made no sense to me, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But the big story, Seth Rollins is a piece of trash. He won the Men's Royal Rumble, by the way. The big story was Nia Jax.
Okay.
She competed in the Women's Royal Rumble and was not successful. R-Truth, who was number 30, the last man to enter the Royal Rumble, Nia Jax attacks him before he gets to the ring and takes his spot.
I really wish I was interested in this conversation, but behind you on the TV is a very attractive woman doing rock climbing.
I don't care about that.
And I'm paying attention to that.
I'm
just going to
I'm
going to you, just so you know.
She attacked R-Truth.
Okay.
Got in the match, started throwing guys around.
Yep.
The guys all gang up on her and do their finishing moves on her and then throw her out. This has created a whole controversy. Some of these people who think they're so progressive, well, how dare you attack a woman on TV, and how dare you do this, and that's not right, and domestic violence and all this. Give me a break.
Well, I mean, we're going to get into tough territory if we can't differentiate domestic violence versus violence on TV.
Well, are you going to tell Wonder Woman that she can't fight somebody in the movie? Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, there guys taking swings at her in the movie.
Hell yeah.
That's for sure.
Landing. Some of them are landing.
Right.
She kicking there. But it took the entire ring to beat her up.
Right.
And they had to do their best moves on her.
Well,
Did you miss that part of the story?
If you're going to make the argument against violence, fine.
Sure.
But make it about violence.
Make it about violence. Don't make it about, well,
Especially
because she's a woman.
Well, but these women are professional fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. She beat up a bunch of men.
I mean, that's like saying, like, if I got into a fist fight with Ronda Rousey, who's a trained MMA fighter,
Yeah.
and she beats the tar out of me.
Olympian.
She beats the tar out of me.
Sure.
Are you going to be just as mad because it's violence?
Yeah.
But no, okay, it's okay because she's a woman who kicked my ass.
Yeah, but if you kicked her ass.
Right. Now, so again, are we arguing
In
about
a fight that you both decided to engage
right,
in?
right. So are we talking about violence or are we talking about what?
People are embarrassing themselves with this stuff. Just listen. The story was Nia may be even more powerful than most of the top stars on the men's roster because it took all of them to take her out.
And also, I mean, we're talking about wrestling here.
We are talking about
this
wrestling.
isn't an MMA fight.
We are talking about wrestling.
This isn't like they knocked her teeth out and she's bloody all over the ground or she did that to them or whatever. I mean, what the people who are writing this stuff, they know what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Sports entertainment.
Hello.
So what are we getting at here?
People embarrass themselves. They're looking for the next thing to.
I mean, you're an expert in embarrassing yourself, so I'll take your word on it.
I'm actually very good at not embarrassing myself. Get out of here with that. Chris Jericho tells Brock Lesnar he needs to get rid of the beer belly.
I can see it.
Who the hell does Chris Jericho think he is?
Listen, all these guys like to bust chops on each other.
No. He leaves the WWE, and now he wants to start tweeting about their stars. You don't work here anymore, pal. Mind your business.
No,
how about that?
That's not a thing.
How about that?
Free speech.
You don't work here anymore. Mind your business, Chris Jericho.
You know, it's funny because last week you were defending that old guy who was mouthing off about another guy's gimmick, and I said he should mind his business, and you said, no, that's not how it works.
No, but
now it's different because,
well, it's
okay,
different.
yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, you think I
It's
forget.
very different.
You got to wake up pretty early in the morning, my friend.
It's very different.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
It's very different.
As usual.
Speaking of which, Hideo Itami.
Okay.
Japanese wrestler, used to be called Kenta. He goes on Twitter and changes his name back to Kenta.
From?
Hideo Itami, which is what the WWE gave him.
I thought you said it was all one name.
No, well, they had to own his gimmick, so
Gotcha.
they named him Hideo. He just changed his name back to Kenta. So it's like, well, what is that about?
What is it about?
He demanded his release. Hideo did.
Seems to be an epidemic happening here.
Well, you know.
I mean, is it possible that the rats, going back to that analogy, are leaving the sinking ship?
Listen, I don't want to get into that right now.
I mean, it's just I think
I don't
it's
want to get
important.
into that, but I just want to say to all of you, you know what? You can go. I don't care about any of you. If you don't want to be here, then leave. Okay?
Oh, can I go then? I'll see
you're
you later.
under contract. You're under contract.
I'm leaving.
You're under contract. Stop that. But the rest of you punks, you can go. Okay? And I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just want to put that out there though.
Mm-hmm.
They can go. Please.
Yeah. Okay.
Please.
You'll be crying in your little stuffed animals on your bed when the WWE folds because people found better deals elsewhere.
I don't know if that's true.
You'll be weeping like a little child.
I don't know if that's true.
Sobbing, inconsolable.
I don't know if that's true. Hey, shout out to Erin. You know Erin from the group.
Mm-hmm.
Her birthday just passed.
Oh.
And she has a big crush on Braun Strowman.
I thought you were going to say me.
Well, I don't think she likes you.
So I don't really care if it's Braun Strowman.
She's a hairstylist, though. You might want to have her clean you up.
You know, it's funny. I would have said the same thing, but you don't have any.
Well,
so hairstylist doesn't have.
Head.
Oh, is that what you tell people?
I shave my head.
Okay, just making sure.
Excuse me. I shave my head.
That's the official story.
Okay, I'm bald because I want to be bald because it's awesome.
Okay, Costanza.
Give me a break. Why did you say that? You know I'm sensitive about that. Jesus.
I bathe in your tears.
Captain Stevens.
No, gee, all right. Speaking of.
Captain Stevens, he's a big deal.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell me why. Has he finally gotten on a boat? Has he finally put his foot in the ocean?
Why do you always do that to
Well,
that
I don't know.
kid?
You're talking about Captain Stevens. He's never, the guy hasn't even, been in a rowboat.
I don't like the fact that you always give him a hard time.
Kayak? Has he been in a kayak? Anything? An inflatable, like a rubber ring? Has he floated anything? Has he been in an in-ground swimming pool?
Here's a guy that's done nothing bad to you, and yet you continue to talk trash.
Well,
about
it's
him.
just I don't know. We talk about a gimmick that makes sense. I don't know that Captain Stevens, who's in a landlocked territory. Am I correct?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not-
where can you just Colorado, right? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, beyond that,
He's a champion.
that's great.
He holds multiple titles.
Okay.
And he's an awesome person.
Well, he should take all those big purses that he won and buy himself a ride on maybe a riverboat or something. You got to get to it. If you're going to be captain, you got to get the resume going.
Leave him alone. He won the Colorado Springs Wrestling Christopher Chavez Senior Memorial Battle Royal. So he had to beat everybody to win that.
Yeah.
So at least you know he's a good wrestler.
So the Captain Crunch was there. Was the Lucky Charms guy there too? Did he have to fight him?
You're unbelievable.
What about Booberry? Was he there?
You're
Count Chocula? Now that's a gimmick. Count Chocula would be a
Don't
great
disrespect the indie wrestlers.
That's going to be that's your wrestling name.
What?
Count Chocula.
Okay. Thanks. At least it's not Booberry. Jesus. Listen, Avery Rose had that throat surgery. Remember she was on the show? She talked about she's going to have the tonsils out.
Everything good?
No.
Oh.
She's in a lot of pain.
Well, I mean, she was in a lot of pain after talking to you, obviously. So, I mean,
She told me she doesn't like you.
That's fine.
I am trying to convince her to come here and beat you up, by the way. So just keep that in
trying.
mind. No.
Keep that in mind.
But get well, Avery Rose. We support you. Feel bad that you're in pain. But
if she doesn't like me, I don't feel bad.
No, you should feel bad.
I don't feel
have
bad.
a heart.
If she doesn't like me, I don't feel
have
bad.
a heart.
What have you done for me lately? You know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean because that's a rude thing to say. The Rock, his movie, about Paige's life, wrestling with my family, what have you, it premiered at Sundance, and it's having special screenings all over the country. They're trying to do testing and what have you.
He's going to reshoot it because it's awful? It's awful, isn't it?
Why are you doing
It's awful, isn't it?
Why are you doing that?
Hey, can we talk about The Rock for a minute?
What?
Whatever happened with his comments? Were they
never
proven
said
to be right?
Yeah, The Rock never said anything about snowflakes or whatever.
But now people are going to think that.
That's okay. Well, he's a Republican.
Well, I don't care what
So
he
I
is.
think people are going to tie I think that's how they did it. They just tied it in and said, oh, well, he must think that. So he said it. Yeah, I would sue whoever said that I said that, by the way. The Rock, I want you to sue those people. Do it.
He doesn't need the money.
It's not about the money. It's about the principle.
The money. He's a Republican. Of course it's about the money.
Sue them. Do it. Ronda Rousey, let me tell you something. First of all, Sasha Banks carried her to an amazing match at Royal Rumble. Then on Monday, Ronda Rousey had the worst promo I've ever heard in my life. She melted down because the crowd started to boo her.
As they should.
And she had no
They locked her up. She couldn't get out of it.
That's it. She thought that she would still catch me out. They booed the piss out of her.
Well, I mean, when you start to tell people that you took your paycheck and now you're leaving, because you want to do whatever, and they've invested, they bought the T-shirt, they bought the action figure.
It was excruciating. It was so bad.
That's called the chickens coming home to roost, my friend.
But Becky Lynch came out later, and then they must have told her, "Listen, you just got to go heel." So she just started talking trash, and it was good. It was much better. But it just goes to show, and even with her wrestling the last month, Ronda needs a lot of work, man.
What do you mean needs a lot of work? She's done. The work is there's no more work.
She needs a lot of work.
There's no more work.
She needs a lot of work.
It was like Reed was talking about when he agreed with me. Was it last week?
Yeah.
That she was a waste of money.
Stop that.
That she's never going to get better because she's going to be gone in a year? Next year and a half, whatever it was?
Stop that.
Yeah, stop that, my ass. Because you know you're wrong, and you put all your eggs in that basket when you knew you shouldn't have, and you did. And just like everyone else, you're a friggin' mark, and you fell for it.
You know what? I would address you back, but we have our interview on the line. The president of wrestling. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. Phil Stamper, the president of wrestling. How you doing?
I am doing very well, despite the cold.
You have a cold here. Listen, Phil, we have
despite the cold, Duke. Despite the cold. Like, it's freezing outside.
But he sounds like he has a cold, too.
Don't insult the man.
Well, he has us on speakerphone. I don't know what's going on right now.
Are you on speakerphone, El Presidente?
No, we're not.
Okay. See? I knew you weren't, but Duke was besmirching your name.
Well, I'm a little irritated. I'm just going to be honest with you, Phil. I'm not happy with you because as the president, I want to know, first of all, why did you shut down the government for over 30 days, and why are you threatening to do it again in February.
Wrong president.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Duke's not very bright.
Well, Trump is part of wrestling too, so I figured Phil must be one of those guys. He could be a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Jesus,
Besmirching.
He cut off my hotline a long time ago.
Yeah,
good to know.
That doesn't work. He doesn't have the nuclear football anymore.
Yeah. So this is interesting because we've interviewed a lot of characters in pro wrestling. I mean, we've interviewed WWE Hall of Famer Bob Backlund. We've interviewed classic trainers like Rudy Boy Gonzalez. We've interviewed various indie wrestlers and what have you. But this is the first time that we've interviewed an actual general manager. It blows my mind that when we think about pro wrestling and all the different roles, there's actually somebody who's a GM. So talk to us, Phil. Who the hell are you?
I'm the guy that at the end of the day has to keep it all together.
Sounds like me. I can relate. I can relate a lot about this.
You do a very bad job. If
the podcast is the same way.
Duke under control.
Yeah, exactly. It's just damage mitigation is what it is.
Give me a break.
That's a good word, a good phrase. I like that. Damage mitigation.
Wow.
So when it comes to the behind the scenes and when you're running things for a promotion or whatever, what does the general manager do though? I mean, what are you actually doing? Give me the nitty gritty here.
Sure. Now I will say with the different promotions I'm associated with, it varies from place to place. Just like any other job in the world where you might have the same title, but you're doing sort of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So at one place, I'm helping to coordinate talent. At other places, I'm helping just once the bell rings. Okay, now it's my job to keep everything moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Everything to helping making sure production is put together to, oh, crap, this wire has come undone. Let me plug it in because no one else sees it.
So, I mean, general manager sounds like just a fancy word for lackey. I mean, really, they're just pushing you around, right? I mean, they're pushing you where they need you. What are the requirements to become general manager? That's what I'm getting at.
Well, for me personally, I've been involved with the world of wrestling for over 20 years.
Okay.
Which is weird and doesn't feel like it, but it has been. I've been fortunate to come up in the business both behind the scenes and in front of the camera. So I have a distinct understanding of the whole operation of an event and how it needs to run.
Interesting. So when we talk about the whole operation and when it needs to run, as a fan, as a super fan, I think about, a match card and who's going to go on at what time and making sure that the commentators have whatever information they need. What more is there that we need that a operation needs in order to be successful?
So even before you get to that point, well, you have to make sure you're going to have talent that are going to even show up for the event. You have to make sure you market and people know that you are there, that you have a way to get that out. Social media, press, getting tickets in front of people. That has to happen first. And then you need to get a crew. And by that, I mean people who can run sound, who are selling your tickets at the door, who are managing your merch, which also means you have to order your merch in advance. And then once you are all together at that event to then move forward, yes, there's action in ring. Well, I hope there's somebody to run music or video or both. I hope you have referees because I have been to events that have forgotten to book referees, which has been amazing to see.
So they're paying they're paying you $8 or $9 million per event to make sure that all these things get done.
Pretty cheap.
I mean, this is different. This is different from the sort of the on-air general manager that we're used to seeing on those horrible products that the WWE puts out.
Stop that.
Right. I'm not just brought in to be another pretty face. I'm actually hands-on making sure things happen. And then you will see me also in front of the camera when I need to step that way.
Phil, one of the things that we often hear from the grizzled veterans in pro wrestling is, and it's funny too because I've even had some words with Eric Bischoff about this. People from outside of the wrestling business always think they know better. They always think they can book an angle or they can write a TV show better than what's being presented to them. They always feel like, if I was in charge, I could do this, I can do that. What experience do you have that makes you a guy who can be a general manager for wrestling promotions?
Duke just can't believe that someone actually has a job that's important in wrestling.
I'm very upset about that.
And no one's asked him to do it.
Well, that's what I'm getting at here. Who the heck are you that you're a GM? I mean, did you ever wrestle before, or are you just some guy off the street that they picked up?
So, like I said before, I had that opportunity to wrestle in the ring. wrestled for a long time, really up until about 2 years ago when I had to have disc fusion in my neck. So basically, it was the edge surgery. If you think that he had to get two discs removed, and part of it was because of spinal stenosis, I had the exact same condition. So that sort of derailed me from being active in the ring. But at that point, like I said, before I'd been involved with wrestling for over 20 years, both behind the scenes and actually wrestling. But outside of my wrestling life, I've also been involved in acting. So I've been fortunate enough to be in a couple of TV shows and in movies. I've been brought in as an extra for the WWE before, and have been exposed to, well, what does it take to run a production, to have a camera there, and to make it look good when people watch it. I have been fortunate enough to have a conversation about getting a job with creative for the WWE. I knew where that was going to go, and it didn't end up happening for me, but to have that conversation in itself was such a learning opportunity. And they use a different script format than the rest of television, than the rest of movie making. They have something that's unique to themselves.
So how far away would you say the average independent wrestling organization is as far as production value to where they need to be in order to really make it a good show? Like how when it comes down to that nitty-gritty stuff, who has an extension cord? Who did you remember to get referees? I mean, is it normally chaos? Like, is it like the WWE does it at a 5-star level and everybody else is just pure chaos?
I would say even at the WWE level, sometimes there's pure chaos.
Wow.
You're dealing with live television. That is such a unique dynamic that very few places can do. They've done it, certainly most of the big promotions have done it. Anybody who's had live pay-per-view now is doing it. So there's starting to seep in a little bit more of the understanding of, we have to keep it moving. Timing's so much more important.
Right.
There's some leeway when you have live pay-per-views because you're not necessarily dependent on a pay-per-view feed or a time slot.
Right.
And even WWE for a while wasn't dependent on a time slot. They sort of had this overflow time on USA that they were allowed to have, and on their other networks that they've been on, where I've been with one other independent promotion that was actually on live television. I can't remember how long they segmented it, but we had to time everything out. And it's such a different ideal because if you're on commentary, you also have a production voice in your headset as well. So you're hearing camera cues as you're talking,
right,
to put over the event that you're watching. So sometimes it's a little bit of confusion in your brain, and it's something so rare that independent promotions have to deal with.
I've
a lot of them will cut things in post.
Right.
But so few do it live.
It's funny because I've worked in radio for almost 20 years now, and in that very live environment. And Duke has no idea how to do a podcast. So I have this very long stick, and I've sharpened the end of it so that when we're sitting here, when he's going, I just poke him.
So disrespectful.
And then that's my way of sort of, because I don't have the technology really to talk into his ear right now. But I just hit him with the stick.
You have to keep it in control.
Exactly right. It's all about keeping it in control. So I guess if we get into, in your experience, all the GMing you've done, there's a lot of small promotions out there. What's one thing they can do to make it a better experience for the fans that they can take from the TV or from the high-end production? Something that isn't hard, but something that makes the experience, in your view, a lot better overall.
Well, immediately to my mind, there's two things. The first is you have to advertise. People need to know you're there. Mm-hmm. And the analogy I normally give people is, think if you were opening up a brand new restaurant, but it wasn't along the main street in your town. Let's say it's around the corner. It's on a side street. How do people know to come to you?
Right.
It's no different than with wrestling. How do people come to find you? And yes, having an online presence is so valuable and so needed and important, but that's not the only way you get the word out there. There's word of mouth, there's flyers, posters, old school mechanisms still work the best. At the same time, once you have the event and it's moving forward, something you said is very valuable. You have to remember that you have a crowd. You have to remember that you have fans that you are interacting with, and you're there for them and their enjoyment.
Right.
And how do you get them involved? How do you work with them so that they feel like, wow, this is something fun to be a part of? And I've heard comedians and live performances talk so much lately about, we're in front of our crowd and they're all on their cell phones. Well, that's true, and that's very true of wrestling. So how do you break that? How do you get them engaged with what you're doing? And so many people forget that because they think of, I watched this television product. Well, Randy Orton doesn't engage with the crowd, right? Because he's on television looking at a television camera.
Right.
He doesn't necessarily care that there's 10,000 people in the building. He's worried about the 5 million people watching at home.
Wow. We're talking to the president of wrestling, Mr. Phil Stamper. Phil, you brought up something that I thought was interesting. You said that you have experience in the acting world as well. So
yes, sir.
Tell us here, what's like the craziest acting job you ever had, or something that was just it caused you to really step outside of the traditional acting role and really step up your game and put a lot more into it?
That is a really good question. Shakespeare is always a challenge because it's English but different. And I have a little bit of a country twang.
Oh, didn't notice.
So I noticed that, I have to curb that, especially, therefore out there, dear Juliet, like you do that as you're trying to do Shakespeare. So, for me, that's always been a little bit more challenging. Anytime there's a different language or dialect than what you have, that is always just a little bit more challenging. It's in many ways, it's very comparable to wrestling. You show up, you're supposed to do a certain job, and thank you for your time, and you turn away and walk away. I've had film directors who've been great to work with. I get paid like I'm supposed to. Awesome. And I leave. There are some that are, wait a minute. It's 2 months later, and you were supposed to pay me that $25 for that one day of filming that you told me that was going to be this great opportunity for exposure. Mm. Yeah, so there are some unfortunate comparisons, and there's some really good ones, too. Great networking opportunities, those opportunities to actually really be in front of a crowd, to get that audience in a different kind of way, in a pre-scripted format. That is also just as entertaining and just as fun.
Well, Duke got me into doing this podcast because he's like, it'll be a great exposure. That's right. And it turns out only his mother listens to it.
Oh,
and
stop
I love his mother. She's wonderful.
She doesn't like you.
But it's been torture. And I did want to ask you, just based on you may or may not have experience in this, but Duke he wanted me to ask, he's been trying to dabble into the adult film industry and didn't know if you had any tips for the casting couch audition for him.
You're really a piece of work.
Unfortunately, that's a little bit outside of my realm.
Unbelievable. Well, something that is inside your realm, the Boston Bad Boy is holding up some nonsense right now, so I got to ask you about it.
Okay.
Word on the street is that you recently were part of a project where you played more than one character. Is that true, or did he just make that up?
That is very true. So I was on Investigation Discovery's Evil Twin in an episode called All American Killers.
Okay.
It focused on wrestling, high school wrestling, so amateur wrestling. And twin brothers, very successful in California in amateur wrestling. And then unfortunately, as they got older, ended up being involved with drugs, went down a path where they ended up killing somebody, a father and daughter, in a car crash.
Wow.
In real life, filming it, the day we were supposed to film a lot of the wrestling action, a lot of the wrestling scene showed up on set. Well, they waited until I think it was almost 11 o'clock the night before to tell anybody where to go. And they said it was filming in the D.C. area. Where they ended up filming was about an hour to the north, and there's not a lot of public transportation to get up there. So I'm there on set, I'm waiting, and I'm like, okay, there's like 5-6 of us here. What's going on? And then they say, we were supposed to have 12 to 15 people here, but because we waited, didn't get the word out, people couldn't coordinate the travel arrangement to get there. So the day of, I ended up being a wrestler on a high school wrestling team, one of the coaches, a referee, a driver of like a wrestling summer camp who ends up killing somebody myself.
Wow.
I know there was one other role that now I can't remember. Like, general audience member.
You played everything.
So there were like 5 different roles that I played. Plus, they actually initially got in touch with me because of my wrestling connections, both professional and with amateur wrestling, to be a consultant. So I was in all these different roles at the same time on set.
Well, it's sort of like this guy's doing more roles than Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. I mean, this is
wow.
You might be ripe for the next Clumps installment. I think you keep that up.
Ridiculous. So, Phil, you're the GM of what promotions now? I got to ask this because I don't know if they know that they're sharing the same guy, but because you've been giving me such a hard time, I'm going to put your business out there officially. So, what are the promotions that you are the GM of?
Sure. I'm involved with MCW Pro Wrestling, which is out of Maryland, Wrestling Revolver, which travels more or less, but they run more out of Iowa and Ohio. Real Shoot Wrestling, which runs out of West Virginia. IWA East Coast, which also runs out of West Virginia. Classic Pro Wrestling that runs out of Virginia. And then there's pickup opportunities that I have here and there. I had been the general manager of Legacy Wrestling, which unfortunately just closed their doors in Pennsylvania. But I'm also involved with Bandit Wrestling, with Rockstar Wrestling, and a few others as well in different capacities.
Unbelievable. And you talked about some of these promotions. I know, obviously, the man of the hour, Leo Rush. Clearly, you must have some kind of connection with Velveteen Dream. Who are some of the people that you really, really spent some time with and that you're pretty excited to see move on an even bigger stage at this point?
I mean, you just mentioned two of them, and seeing Patrick now with Velveteen Dream and Leo Rush achieve the things they are doing is amazing. I'm also good friends with Sami Callihan and a lot of the people that go through like the Dayton area. So it's funny because when Revolver started, it was right after Sami left NXT. And to think about some of those conversations that him and I had about, oh gosh, what's the next step? What's going to happen? To now see him being the fans' most liked wrestler of the year. He has a full-time contract with Impact Wrestling, but he's also on Lucha Underground and MLW, which have national televised products. To see that, and then see some of the kids that have come up through that too, like the Zachary Wentz's and Desmond Xavier's and Trey Miguel and Ace Austin. That's really cool to see the guys at MCW now who just got deals with Ring of Honor. So people like Ken Dixon and Joe Keys and Dante Caballero. These are the guys that are making wrestling now and moving forward to the future. They really are that next group that's coming up.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Well, you sound like a guy who, despite being a president who's responsible for the government shutdown, you do sound like a hardworking guy. So here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to reach out to my personal good friend, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Here we go.
And we're going to see if we can get you a follow-up interview for Creative. I can't promise that you'll get the interview or even that anyone will remember who you are, but I'll at least put in a good word for you.
No one remembers who Duke is, so don't feel too bad about that little talking.
Vince is a good friend of mine, so I'm gonna do what I can.
Yeah.
Please. Listen, Phil, if fans or bookers want to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can find you?
So you can find me online on social media, whether that's Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter at PS Phenom. That's PSPHENOM, and on Facebook at Deska Phil Stamper.
And also, do you got any bookings coming up? Anything on the horizon if they want to see you live?
I do. This Saturday, February 2nd, I'll be at Real Shoot Wrestling in Fairmont, West Virginia at Christ Episcopal Church. And then MCW returns February 23rd at the MCW Arena in Joppa. And February 16th is Classic Pro Wrestling at the King William Volunteer Fire Department in Aylett, Virginia. And due to another obligation, I can't be there. But this Friday, tomorrow night, is Rockstar Pro Wrestling's last event at their current home at the Rockstar Arena before they move to a brand new venue that was built just for them. So for people who have some familiarity with the Midwest and the Dayton area, go to Rockstar Pro on February 1st.
Wow, that's a mouthful there. And Phil, can you get me a stay in the Lincoln bedroom?
Get the hell out of here. Leave him alone, will you?
There's static on the line now. I don't know what's happening there.
Thanks a lot. Well, thank you
is.
for joining us, the president of wrestling, Phil Stamper.
Thank you, sirs.
You know something, Boston Bad Boy?
What?
He just lost my vote. You know what? I am not going to vote for that guy ever again.
For the president of wrestling?
That's right.
I think he's just a general manager, though. I mean, he's not looking for your vote.
No, Phil Stamper, you don't get my vote because if you're not going to allow the Duke to stay in the Lincoln bedroom, then what good are you? I should be able to pull strings and get what I want. That's how this country works.
No. You know why? Because no one cares. No one needs you for anything. You can't help anybody with anything. You're a drain on society.
Is that what I am? Wow. Tell me how you really feel, you jerk.
I'm letting you know.
Jesus. Listen, our friend Roy Lucier, his website is back up.
There's some problems.
Well, some of these companies like the New Japan Pro Wrestling, they complained about Roy putting up videos and things of that nature of old wrestling matches, which is unfortunate because it's hard to find stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, why don't they make them available?
Well, that's the problem. If you're not going to do anything with it, then why don't you? You know what I mean? Leave the guy alone.
And we know our friend Roy, who isn't. He's not. It's like he's got a bin of gold coins because he's putting old wrestling videos.
Give me a break. You know what I mean? And a lot of the old time wrestlers and young, they watch this stuff.
And the irony is that these promotions didn't want to pay the wrestlers to begin with. Back when this stuff was filmed, they paid them pennies.
That's a good
And
point.
now all of a sudden they're mad.
That's a good
because someone else might take their penny. Get the hell out of here.
And Roy's not making any money off of that stuff. He's doing it for the love of the game. So shout out to Roy Lucier. He has royswrestlingvault.com. That's the website.
Is Roy spelled with a W like wrestling is?
No, it's R. What are you talking about?
I'm just checking.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Roy's Wrestling.
He still takes his wife to these events.
Yeah, I know, and that's amazing to me that he's still married.
Well, yeah, she puts up with it. It's something else. But shout out to our boy Roy. He's a good guy. Listen, the Super Bowl is this weekend.
Yes, or as we come to know it, the final game of the Patriots season.
This is the end. I just want all you people out there listening to understand that Tom Brady, this is it for him.
Listen, I know next to nothing about sports, as we discussed last week.
He's going to lose.
Whether he wins or whether he loses, he's going to play for another 5 years.
No, he can't. They're going to trust me. I'm telling you.
Why would they not let him play? He made it, whether he wins or loses the Super Bowl, he made it there.
He's going to do so poorly in this game that this is it for his whole career.
No.
Duke Stradamus is telling you right now. Yeah. This is it. This is the end of this piece of trash and that whole stinking cheating team. Okay?
What I'm saying is the guy's so good, the greatest of all time, allegedly.
Greatest cheater of all time.
Greatest of all time. And they're not going to not let him play. He got the team to the Super Bowl.
I'm sick of him. He's not winning anything.
So I don't care if you're sick of him or what, but let's say how many years, and you can answer this question very easily, how many years, for instance, does a team go with a bad quarterback? And being a Dallas fan, you should be able to answer this.
What's wrong with you?
You should be able to answer this pretty easily. How long will they go with a bad quarterback before they swap him out?
Tom Brady.
Sometimes 3 seasons, sometimes it'll go a while.
Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are the biggest heels in the NFL. Just so you know.
So?
Just so we're clear.
Yeah, but they win.
They're crap.
They win.
They're crap.
They win.
Okay?
And here's the thing. There's so much money involved in the NFL that if that really was true, something would have come of it.
It's coming.
Now it's coming. I thought it already came. I thought they already were cheaters, but now it's coming. I see. No, I'm glad you figured it out.
I'm going to tell you right now. We already let all the referees know. Keep an eye out. We're not going to allow the foolishness that's been going on for the past 20 years to continue. It's over. Over.
It's not going to. You're wrong. There's no way. There's no way that happens because he's going to keep playing, and whether he's good or not, people will go down with the ship with him. I mean, New England is due for a lull here.
It's going to happen. Gronk is going to be in the WWE. He's going to retire. He's going to be at the WWE.
He doesn't want to get it dropped on his head. He's been dropped on his head enough.
I think that's what he wants.
You think he wants to be in the WWE? Why?
They're going to pay him big money to do.
Do you know how much money he has?
Not enough.
He has enough money that he wants to go sit and hang with Playboy models and bang them.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life.
Hey, Gronk, if you want to come on the show and talk about how much you can't stand Tom Brady, you're more than welcome.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
We can do that. We can kumbaya about that.
I want Bill Belichick to come in here and be your co-host for a night, and then he's going to slap you silly with his non-answers.
You know what I don't like about Bill Belichick? He swears at other players.
Does he?
Yeah. Shut the F up and all this. He thinks he's a badass.
Like on the sidelines?
Yeah.
He's saying shit?
I'm going to send you some stuff. You wouldn't believe it.
I don't believe it. It could be fake
Suck
news.
my you-know-what. All this stuff he says.
It could be fake, one of those fake videos.
No. This is real stuff.
Did you see the video, by the way, where they swapped Steve Buscemi's face over who's Jennifer Lawrence?
No.
It's like you know how they're talking about all these videos that are going to come out. Like there's going to be the new trend will be making it look like the president is saying something or somebody is saying something. There'll be these disinformation campaigns. And somebody posted, using this technology, some guy, I don't know if he's a computer guy or whatever, a video of Jennifer Lawrence doing a press conference, at the Oscars, and she's wearing a dress, and but they mapped Steve Buscemi's face over hers.
Awesome.
And it's so real. It's anybody would be fooled.
I think somebody did that because somebody sent me a video of Vince McMahon saying he didn't know who I was, and I was certain that was fake. So that was real. No. That was as real as Walter Cronkite telling you we landed on the moon, my friend. The hell? Stop that right now. Listen, I tried to avoid it, but I got to bring this up. I'm pissed.
Oh boy.
I told you folks earlier.
You need a hobby.
There's some people in the WWE right now who have forgotten where they came from. They forgot who made them. Okay? They were nobodies before they got to the greatest company in the history of sports entertainment, the World Wrestling Entertainment. Before they got to the Wizard of Oz, Vincent Kenny McMahon, who's a personal friend of mine.
Do you realize the Wizard is a fraud in the end? Did you ever watch the end of the Wizard of Oz?
No, I never watched the end of that movie.
They get to the wizard, you see, and they pull back the curtain, and there's just a guy there. It's just a dope, a guy who's faking it.
Well, this is
faking the whole
wizard.
thing.
This is the real wizard. Mr. Wizard. No. Vincent Kenny McMahon.
No, I think it's a perfect analogy. You just never watched the end of the movie.
You stop that right now. But I'm telling you right now, okay? Dean Ambrose.
All right.
Dean Ambrose was nothing but a punk on the indies.
Oh, here we go.
Who had to do a bunch of hardcore matches.
It's funny, when you start a tirade by besmirching somebody and then attempt to be fair and balanced in what you're talking about, you've lost all credibility.
I'm as fair and balanced as Fox News, pal.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? He was a punk on the indies who could only get over by doing hardcore matches where essentially it's not even a real wrestling match. He's picking up weapons and beating people with it and getting beat up. That was his claim to fame, this punk. WWE dusts him off, cleans him up a little bit, gives him an opportunity.
All right.
That he doesn't even deserve, by the way.
Okay, whatever.
He's brought up through the enhancement talent section, gave him an opportunity there, let him go, brought him back. Then they put him through the system, so he works in like AAA, basically, like a farm system. Bring him up to the main roster. He's part of a collective called The Shield with Roman Reigns, who I can't stand.
Your favorite.
I still can't stand him.
You love him.
He's going to be acting in The Rock's movie.
Really?
Fast and the Furious movie.
You're going to get it on tape?
No.
Watch it over and over again?
I'm going to boycott that movie.
Okay.
So just Dwayne Johnson, I'm very disappointed in you putting Roman Reigns in that movie. I'm not going to watch it.
Aren't they related?
Yeah, they're cousins. But that's not the point.
No, that is the point.
So Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, who I don't like, they put the three of them together. They're the Shield. Eventually, they give Ambrose a tag team championship, the Intercontinental Championship. They make him the world champion. Then he gets injured.
Never made it to Universal Champion.
I don't think so. Actually, maybe he did.
Boy,
stopped
short of the universe.
But he got injured.
All right.
Comes back, right? They give him an opportunity when he comes back.
Yeah.
He's back in the main event picture.
Back in the saddle.
Despite the fact that he's a terrible wrestler.
Okay.
He's terrible on the mic, and he even looks terrible. I'd be ashamed to look the way he looks.
You look a lot worse.
I don't know about that.
No, you do.
This guy has the audacity.
You're wearing a scarf indoors. I just want everyone to know that.
Because it's
Duke
sharp.
is wearing a scarf indoors.
I look very handsome.
And just for that, I'm docking you another degree of heat. It's now 57 in the studio.
That's why I'm wearing a scarf, just so you know.
You better wear long underwear next time.
This guy says he wants out. We offer him a contract, and I'm saying we because, I'm a part owner of the WWE.
Can you just get to the friggin' point
here? They offer him a contract. 5 years.
All right.
$1 million a year guaranteed. He turns it down. I want my release. I'm not coming back. I'm not signing. I'm out of here. Pissed us off. So you know what we did? We released a statement.
You sound like Gollum in The Lord of the Rings, talking about we.
I never watched that movie.
Precious, my precious wrestling. That's what you sound like.
You
sound like a little trolley, little gnome.
I'm cool. I don't watch The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, you're cool.
I'm cool.
You're wearing a scarf indoors. You are not cool.
Not a nerd, okay? This fool, we had to release a statement. just to let him know that we're not putting up with his crap.
Okay.
So, hey, you know what? This guy's going away. We offered him something. He didn't want to take it, so he's gone. He's going away. He's an ungrateful, no good, son of a you-know-what. And I'm here to tell you right now because Vincent Kenny McMahon has, he's not going to say it out loud, but he's given me the go-ahead to let you know, Dean Ambrose, you're an ungrateful piece of trash. Period.
What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
The man can do what he wants to do.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can.
He cannot.
And you know what? You're not so dumb to realize that this guy isn't going to turn down $5 million unless he knows he's got another option out there. And I believe you know that there are other options out there.
Well, this foolish AEW with Cody Rhodes and the knucklehead who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How much cash does that guy have?
He has a lot more money than Vince McMahon does.
Well, there it is.
So he thinks he can just throw his money to everybody.
Listen,
now, right?
How about this? If Vince McMahon said, I'll give you $5 million a year, and you're going to put up with the same BS, lack of creative, lack of interaction, lack of any character development, it's a lot of money. But this guy says, you know what, I'm going to give you $5.1 million a year, and you can do whatever you want, and we'll actually support you in your career. You go with the 5.1.
No, you stay with who
or
made
you go with the $5 million a year. Maybe the guy just said, I'll give you the same amount of money, but we're going to build something brand new here.
I don't
and you
like
can do it the right way.
I don't like it.
Well, of course you don't like it because it's better than the idiot system that your idiot alleged friend Vincent Q. McMahon has set up for himself.
Don't ever forget where you came from. You don't turn your back on the people who made you.
Listen, What have you done for me lately? Nothing.
They've given him opportunity.
No, they haven't. If they did, he'd be happy. If they gave him the proper opportunity, he'd be happy. They repackage, slap this on it, put it there, go here. Like everything else, they've got no focus. They don't know how to get somebody over. They've lost it. They've lost the plot. They don't know how to do it.
I just don't understand
they
why
got Ronda Rousey booed. She clammed up. She couldn't even do a promo.
Well, that was her own fault. Stop that.
Oh, that's her fault?
She did that.
She did that. They didn't support her?
Well,
you just said they gave her a support system. They gave her all this stuff. Oh, and so what did she do with it? Nothing.
Stop
That's
that.
what she did.
Stop that.
Nothing.
You can't blame my company when somebody fails. That's their fault. They own it. Okay?
They own it.
We make them a success, but when they fail,
if they own it, then let them go.
No.
If it's them, let them go.
You know what? He'll never work in this town again. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
I think he's going to be making a lot of money.
He'll never work in this town again.
And not dealing with.
He'll never work in this town again. Okay? I'm so pissed off about this, I can't even tell you, Boston Bad Boy. We wasted years on this guy.
What's wrong with you?
All the money we invested in him, developing him. Dean Ambrose, we wasted 7-8 years on in investing in you, making you something. And for you to turn your back on the World Wrestling Entertainment, the greatest company in the history of sports entertainment.
Well, maybe it once.
You piece of trash.
It might have once been.
How you're an ungrateful, you know what?
Ungrateful? The guy's going to make the best deal for himself. And he wants out of the contract because he's got something better. Why is he going to go there and get CTE under Vince McMahon while he's being miserable? If he's going to sacrifice his body for his career, he should do it someplace he was happy at.
I'm just going to tell.
And what have you done for me lately?
I'm just going to put it out here. You're not invited back in this company ever again, period.
I don't think he cares. He wants out anyway.
No. You know what? We don't want him then.
Okay. All right, then let him go. Right, you're going to let him out of the contract?
Yeah, he's done.
Okay, good.
He's done.
There it is.
You're canceled, pal.
You
will never work in this town again.
That's not a thing.
What?
There's other promotions.
No, we're going to make it a thing.
Yeah, okay. Don't you think if Vince McMahon could make it a thing, he would have done it already?
We're gonna try.
Yeah. Get out of here.
We're going to try.
You're full of baloney.
Whatever. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.